Welcome to another episode of We Have to Go Back Lost Revisited, special edition episode. I am one of your hosts, Ben.
And I am your other one of your hosts, Kristin.
Kristin, we just got off the phone with a guest who our listeners are going to hear right after this intro. I got to ask, what did you think of
I
our
thought it was
conversation?
awesome. What a great conversation. What a great dude.
Right?
Yeah, he was real easy to talk to. It was funny because I came prepared with all these questions that I wanted to ask, and then all of a sudden it was like, I don't need to ask anything.
Nope.
I'll just like drop a couple keywords in every once in a while, and away we go.
Yeah, you're going to hear our conversation with MC Gainey, aka Tom Friendly, or Zeke, as Sawyer calls him. And he was so generous with his time to come on this podcast and talk exclusively about Lost. And yeah, you're right. He's just an amazing storyteller that, as I told you before we started talking to him, all we really had to do was just get the ball rolling, and that's it. And he takes it and runs with it.
You know what? I would never need coffee if he was somebody that I spoke to every day, because I feel pretty energized after speaking to him. That was really fun. Thank you so much for arranging that. That was really great.
Yeah, and I'm kind of hoping this is the first of many. I mean, we've been saying since the beginning of this podcast we wanted to have conversations with cast members, and this is the first, hopefully not the last.
Mm-hmm.
And although MC is going to be a tough one to top, because he's such a character in himself, that it was just so much fun to talk to him. And we talked to him for about an hour, in which, again, within like the next 2 minutes, everybody's going to get to hear it. And I can't wait to see what people think about this. And
yeah.
Oh man, you're right. He's so high energy. I kind of feel energized myself after having just talked to him.
Yeah. Yeah, big smiles on my face. So I hope that everybody enjoys this episode this week, and we'll come back to you next week with DOC.
Yeah. So with that being said, just sit back, relax, and enjoy this, our conversation with MC Gainey.
It's the next level.
Hmm? Ah! All right, guys, we're going to take a little break from our weekly breakdowns of the episodes, as we usually do. For Kristin and I are welcoming a guest to the podcast. You know him as the first other we're ever introduced to, and the one who kidnaps Walt from Michael, to eventually become the other that we just grew to love. You heard him join me on the spotlight, and now Kristin and I welcome him to this podcast. Please welcome, you know him as Tom Friendly, Mr. MC Gainey.
I'm delighted to be with you. Delighted to be with you. We're going to have to take the boy.
Yeah, as Kristin was saying, that's one of the best lines from that show, from your character.
Drove me crazy. You have to understand this, the fundamental dynamic of this show that made it different from anything else I've ever done in the almost 50 years I've been acting. I never knew what the hell I was talking about. I never knew who I was. I didn't know why I was there. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know what I was hiding. All the things it takes for an actor to build a character, I was without. And they liked it that way. And they would not respond to my incessant queries like, well, why do I want the boy? And they wouldn't tell me. And who am I? I mean, that's the starting place. Who am I? And all summer long, that was the last episode of the season. All summer long, my friends from all over the world were calling, and I'd see them, and they'd say, "What are you going to do with the boy? What are you going to do with him?" I said, "God, I don't know it. I hope I'm not going to barbecue him somewhere. I hope I'm not going to do something horrible to him. I have no idea." And they didn't believe me. And it wound up being a real... I did. later on, I changed the story. I had to make up a story to satisfy some people later on. And I said I viewed it as rescuing a kid from a child from a burning raft. You know, I tell you, people were jumping off the raft. It was on fire. I got him. I saved him. Now, the fact that I set the raft on fire, we don't need to mention that part.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I think you set the raft on fire.
From time to time, you'll hear my wife shouting from the other end of the house, yeah, you said it was going to burning raft. Yeah, that's right. I did think that was a pretty good explanation. But I did not know anything. Literally, when I first heard about Lost, I thought it's the worst idea I'd ever heard. I said, they've already done Gilligan's Island. You know, I know every episode of Gilligan's Island, and it's really stupid because the Harlem Globetrotters wound up on Gilligan's Island, and they managed to get off of it.
That's so true.
The professor, who's supposed to be so smart, he can't get them off. And then I didn't realize that we're going to have backstories and that it was going to turn out to be one of the great entertainments. It's definitely in the top 10 TV shows of my lifetime.
So how did you get connected into the show?
April Webster was the casting director, and she'd been around Hollywood for a while. She used to cast the A-Team and Dukes of Hazzard TV show and stuff like that. She'd cast me a lot of times, and they wanted me to come in and audition. And at that point, I was still good with that. I was very anxious to audition, but I wasn't anxious to audition this particular day because I was working on another show with an incredibly beautiful woman whose name I've forgotten. My wife will shout it out from the other room in a minute. Rebecca Romaine Stamos. And we've been shooting downtown in L.A. all day, a helicopter landing on top of a building. And when I've been on top of a building downtown all day, and I got off about 3 o'clock, and my manager called and said, "Listen, April, you've got to come in today." And I said, "Well, I'm not really prepared." "Not a problem. You're going to audition with a piece of material that's not even in the show. So they just want you to come in." And I thought, okay, when I hear that, I usually think that it's just because they feel like they need me to come in, or else the good side is it's because they already know they want me to do it. So I went in and read the cold reading of the underprepared thing that took place in a gift shop in an airport. And so, okay, fine. So then I got the job. And when I got it, I had still not seen the show. And so I didn't really know who people were. I didn't know that much about it. I wasn't that excited, except that it worked in Hawaii. And I love working in Hawaii, baby. I love it. That's a deal maker right there. So, but I have to tell you that when I got there, I had no idea who I was, what I was doing. I had no idea. And everybody else seemed to. I mean, all the producers were writers and the directors. They seemed to know what was going on. And they said, "Listen, you just do what you think is right. And if it's wrong, we'll let you know." I'm like, okay, that's about as vague as it gets. And I have a handlebar mustache. They asked me if I would mind shaving it off. I didn't mind. And then they put a fake beard on me. Right? I mean, a gigantic fake beard. But what they didn't tell me, I could do a book on what they did not tell me. They did not mention to me that it's a fake beard that I'm going to remove at some point.
Yeah.
I thought, hey, I'm a bearded guy. When you see me, I look like I've been living under a rock for about 2 years, don't I? My clothes are rags. I got this big fake beard, so I didn't. That's what it started out. I went into it without knowing anything, and I did most of it without knowing anything. And I began to make decisions for myself, and some of them led good places, and some of them didn't.
Well, by the end of that season finale, when you had, because that was the first episode that you had done, it was the first time we had seen you. Did you know, with the little that you did know, was one of the things that you know that you were going to be coming back in season 2? Or was that the only episode you thought you were going to be doing for the time?
That's funny. I can't really remember that. I don't remember. It may have just been the only one. I may not have known that, to be honest with you. I don't recall somebody saying, "Oh, yeah, we'll see you next season." I generally, unless they kill me on a show, I generally expect to come back. Well, and even when they kill me, I came. Even when I came back anyway. Yeah. But that's what.
Yeah,
That's a whole different thing.
I was just going to say the same thing. I mean, that was even after they killed you and lost, we still ended up seeing you, I think, 2 more times after your death.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but you have to realize that while I was doing that, I was also starting to work on Wild Hogs. I also was doing the Dukes of Hazzard movie, and I mean, I was like doing 4 other things. So it was just a job, a great job, a job in Hawaii. And but it's hard to snuggle up with a character when you don't know anything about him. I mean, it's like blindfolded dating or something. It's like, right. Okay, it's like I don't have much to work with here. But it worked out all right though, and I got used to it, and I started having fun with it because it gave me the opportunity to do whatever I thought Tom Friendly would do in that moment. For instance, when the little girl comes in later on, I think in the 3rd season, maybe 2nd season, she's in our camp with us, and I would walk by and I would pat her on the head as I went by and they would say, "No, man, maybe you shouldn't. No, don't, maybe." And I'd be like, "Okay, sure, all right, that's too skeevy." Well, it turned out it wasn't too skeevy. It's Ben's daughter. It's like, okay,
yeah.
that makes a difference. Yeah, Tanya, Tanya Ramon. Tanya Ramon. Yeah, she's a lot of fun. Incredibly beautiful woman. She's a little girl. She looked like Ava Gardner. That ain't a bad way to start.
No, not at
she
all.
was gorgeous. It was so funny because you were always my favorite other, because I felt like you were so mysterious as a character. Like there were times where I really loved you, and then there were other times where I was a little scared of what you might do. And I'm just wondering, like, do you, like, now that it's all said and done, I mean, do you consider Tom Friendly just to be like a loyalist to like the Dharma Initiative and Ben, or do you consider him to be kind of a good guy, or did you ever get a feel for that by the end?
In hindsight, you mean looking back on it now?
Yeah.
No, I think I was talking to Ben about sidekicks. I got into acting because I loved sidekicks. I always wanted to be a sidekick. So there was a moment there when I thought, okay, geez, this guy's going to wind up being a really bad guy, because if I'm the first other you see, maybe I'm in charge, and that's going to mean a lot. But I was delighted to find that what I was not. Then I could be Ben's sidekick. And then I felt like I was Jack's sidekick. Right. I mean, I felt like so Tom Friendly is friendly.
We just figured out that you're the guy with the towel.
Right, and yes. Yeah.
What did she say?
Okay, yeah. Well, we were talking the other day about the thing at the end of the universe. Thank you. I can't mix all this up at one time, baby. The restaurant at the end of the universe. One of the really important things about that is the towel. Everybody, you have to have a towel.
Oh yeah, right? From Hitchhiker's Guide. Yep.
Yeah, Hitchhiker's Guide. You have to. You have to have a towel. And I had towels. In the 2nd season, I have towels. I'm trying to get, and this leads into a crucial element of the whole thing, which is that in trying to do things, it led me in certain directions. So I will say that Tom Friendly was a sidekick. He was like a friendly dog that wanted somebody to play with and pet him. And so if it was Ben, okay. If it was Jack, okay. I mean, his allegiances seem a little murky to either one side or the other, in all honesty. But it led me, I'm completely off my thing. It led me to a good way, because in that moment, in that scene, when I try to hand the towels and the soap to Evangeline, and she says, "No, not in front of you," and I say to her, "You're not my type." As I read those words on the script, I said, if she's not his type, then Josh Holloway must be, or Jack Sawyer, or Jack must be.
I think Josh Holloway is everyone's type.
Yeah, I think so too. And so I just thought to myself, okay, you know what? All right, so let me get in touch with my feminine side. Let me get in touch with, for want of a better term, pleasing people, helping people, wanting for, even when I'm holding them in cages, I'm wanting it to be better for them. I'm not wanting them to make it harder on themselves. And I'm doing all this without even knowing who else is involved in all this, what kind of organization. I didn't know any of that shit. But I knew that if she's not my type, then Sawyer or Jack would be. So I kept this in my mind, and I've never really had any places to demonstrate this in any way, except that a lot of times when I'm listening to Jack, I'm really listening. I'm lost in his eyes. You know what I'm saying? I'm really, really, I'm a great audience. And but just as now the towels is taking me so far ahead, I'm just going to go ahead and say that nobody else noticed that I was gay. And I didn't have any chance to really do anything about it until about the 4th season when I'm throwing a football with Jack. And I threw it very, very badly. And after that season was over, they have this thing. They have this thing where the Emmys nominations are presented to the writers of all the TV shows, and they have a big party at the Friars Club in Beverly Hills, and it's sponsored by a vodka company, and they all get together, and all these, you got the Seinfeld, not Seinfeld, you have the Jon Stewart Daily Show writers, you have the 2.5 Men writers, you have all the different shows, and they're all sitting at tables, and Lost was nominated. And this is just to present the nomination to them. This is not to give them the award. Mm-hmm. And they like to have somebody from the show, talk as a talking head for that group. So they called me and asked me if I would do it. And I thought, I'm the only one that's in L.A., so yeah, sure, I'll do it. And it sounds like fun. So I went in and made a long speech about none of you people know who I am. I'm a working man actor, yada, yada, yada. So now afterward, we're having drinks and sitting at a table. And one of the producers asked me, he said, you played football, didn't you? And I said, oh, yeah, high school, college, in the Army. He said, well, why can't you throw a football? And I said, well, I can, but Tom can't because he's gay and he never tried. And there was a silence at the table. And they said, what? Tom's gay? And I said, oh, yeah. And so they all got a big laugh out of it. If she's not your type, I mean, it was, they did enjoy it. They got a laugh out of it. Then they don't. And they got a big laugh. Okay, so 2 weeks later, I get a script. And it's a flashback. And I'm in a hotel room in New York with my boyfriend.
Yeah.
And for me, that was my reward. That was like, okay, now this is mine. They set up everything else. They tell I'm like a dog doing tricks, man. I'm a trained dog doing tricks. They tell me the trick, I do it. This one is mine. And the best thing about it was they hired this really handsome kid in Honolulu, local guy, not much experience, but he was really excited about being on Lost. He was really excited about being my boyfriend. And before we were shooting, he said, well, let's talk down. Where do you think we got together? How long have we been together? I said, wait a minute, kid. I live on an island someplace. All right. This is a flashback in New York. You're in New York. You're not on the island. So this would not be that kind of relationship. And he meant, you mean I'm a professional? And I said, yeah. And then he really loved it. Oh, he was really excited then, man. He was playing a professional prostitute. He was so excited. But that's where the towels led me into that thing right there. So I'm going to shut up and let you ask me another question because I'm lost.
No, that's really amazing. I see what you did there.
That's a great story. I love that story, and I love the fact that you kind of connect it to Ford's character in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, kind of like, because Ford was somebody who played both sides, and he was somebody who was kind of an interesting character as well, and he always had a towel.
Yeah, you have to, yeah. My beautiful wife's not going anywhere without a towel. I mean, you're going to get in the car. You're going to get in the car and drive to Ventura for a day. Even if you're not going swimming, she got a towel. You got to have a towel.
Well, that's great.
The hat that you were wearing the light up was a cotton, organic cotton towel substitute hat.
Yeah, the hat that I was wearing in that first scene, the light 'em up scene.
My favorite
was made by my wife, and it's based on 42.
Oh, that's so cool.
Once again, a big deal in the Hitchhiker's Guide in the 42. And
Secret
it's a big deal to her because she's a mathematician, among many other things. She is a mathematician, a whiz, a quantum mathematician that has the experiments with basing things in base 42 instead of base 10. Now, if you had any trouble with base 10, like I did, the multiplication tables is about as far as I got in understanding it. Base 42 will really turn you inside out. But just to let you know, yeah, there's a lot of the Hitchhiker's Guide buried deep in this. Not just on my part. I mean, that's one of the great things about Lost. They took whatever they liked from a wide variety of esoteric places.
Yeah. And I think what's really cool about that whole story as well is the fact that, with as meticulous as the writing was on that show and in setting things up for like 4 seasons ahead or whatever, they still gave the freedom, to someone like such as yourself to kind of still morph a character on their own while still keeping it as part of the story.
Yeah, and I think, and I don't know whether or not they might have killed my character off 3 episodes in had I not been this is such a terrible thing to say, like a breath of fresh air. Had I not been somebody who was not angry, who was not, I mean, when you're holding people captive, locking them in cages, it's really easy to get a big head about it. You begin to feel like I'm in control here, and but I wasn't, and Tom Friendly was not in control, and he's a character had a lot of issues, and I think somebody's gay in every group if it's a big enough group, and he was that guy there, and with no partner in sight. And I never did, I did one scene where one director asked me, I'm not going to say who it was, but he asked me after a shot, he said, MC, I watched you do that thing. Were you mincing a little bit? And I said, maybe a little bit. And he just laughed, and I found out later that he's gay. Something about my walk made him think that, I wasn't, Tom Friendly was not the badass macho guy that he appeared when he said, light him up, and told him, you stay on the beach, you'll be okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
You stay on the beach, you'll be all right. Yeah, just stay on the beach. I was like, oh my God, the first time I started watching this show and I saw the smoke monster, I said, yeah, I wouldn't have any problem staying on the beach. As a matter of fact, I might stay 10 feet out in the surf. No problem. I don't need to explore this island. But it was interesting that they did make a little. They used to say when I would quiz them, they'd say I would bust their balls. I have a lot of respect for people in charge of this business, but it's also goofy, man. It's like it's a funny thing to do, and so I sometimes kid people in power, and I would kid the producer. I'd say, you guys are making this shit up week by week. You don't have a clue. He said, no, it's in a secret room we'll never show you, and it's all on 3x5 cards, and it's all matched. Yeah, it's on 3x5. Yeah, sure it is. So he gave me a great deal of satisfaction to get that script that time and say, yes, you know what? This wasn't on a 3x5 card. But if I said that to him, they would have said, oh, of course it was MC. Who do you think wrote that line? You're not my type. Okay, yeah. So, I don't try to outsmart them. I just try to have a good time with them and let everybody have fun. It's just that simple, man. Yeah. And this was a great show to have fun in because, everybody's there. I have to speak apart from the plots and things, which I sometimes don't know a lot about, can be disappointing, is that the job itself was a once-in-a-lifetime thing, for me anyway, because it's all these people, most of whom have not been in the business a long time, and most of them had not been stars. And some of them, like Evangeline Lilly, had not been seen. She came literally out of nowhere. And they threw her into the pilot. They threw her into a situation that would challenge longtime skilled actors, and she did it. She nailed it. She's a natural, great actress. Mm-hmm. And all these kids are in Hawaii, and it sounds really crazy, but when you're in Hawaii for any length of time, people start to say things like, yeah, I'm going back to the States, and you say, no, this is a state. You don't feel like you're in America, and you're on this island, and you're in the jungle all the time, and you're on the biggest show in the world. People all over the world know your name, and they're stuck there. I mean, people like Jorge, like a huge star, and so it was a wonderful world to be in. I would go over there. I would come back from the States and go there to do an episode, And, I would take their temperature, how they're doing, are they burned out yet? How are they? And after the second season, when they came back for the third season, they all knew, they'd all been through it. You know what I mean? They'd all been through it now, the world acclaim. And after the fourth season, the fifth season, and it was really a beautiful thing to see, is a lot of young actors becoming almost overnight, becoming huge stars and having to deal with it. Yeah, and most of them dealt with it really, really well, I thought. Yeah. It was just like an unusual experience. Usually you don't ever see unknown people get to be that famous that fast.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that, because we've said multiple times on this podcast that this was, at least for me, this was the first time I can remember that this was appointment television for me. I mean, that pilot was one of the best pilots, I think, ever. The
best pilot, the single greatest pilot ever made, I believe.
Yeah,
and I'm going back to the pilot of Bonanza in 1959. That's how far back I go with it. It was a great pilot, unbelievable. It did everything you could ask a pilot to do, and I agree with you. It was fantastic, and it was on the TV. Yeah.
Yeah, and on the same token, it was also one of the best season 1 finales. I mean, it was a complete story, and you were a part of that finale. And that finale, like I've said, it was electric. I mean, when you guys came out of when you guys came out of nowhere, out of the jungle,
literally,
lost my mind.
Out of the jungle too. But before that, in that last episode of that season, you've never seen anybody who wasn't on the plane.
Right.
And now they're out there on a raft, and they're trying to just see if they can get, and all of a sudden there's somebody in a boat. Right. Oh my God. and he's laughing and joking. He's got a beard. He's wearing clothes. I mean, normal clothes. He's laughing and joking. He's on a freaking boat. Right. Mm-hmm. And in that moment, now see, I wasn't somebody who'd seen the whole season and was hanging, but I could imagine what it was like later on to say, wow, you put that whole year, that whole season in there, and now in the last 15 minutes, there's somebody else, and he's going to try to kill all these people and take the kid. That is some bold storytelling there. Yeah, it really is. Yeah. And the next season was when I came out of the jungle, and you find out that, the next year it did, but you see me and you go, well, there's that guy. Oh my God. And there's a lot of other people out there too. All these people with the torches. I mean, it's just great storytelling,
And I think
was that the premiere, the season 2 premiere, when you guys came out of the jungle then and you said, light them up?
Yeah, I think it has to be. Yeah. I think it has to be.
Because that was even more intense than you guys showing up on the boat, in all honesty.
Oh yeah. Now, because now, it's not just because I could have, when I came on, I could have been on another island. Mm-hmm. As it turned out, I think there was another island somewhere. I don't know. I have to be honest with you. I'm a little sketchy when we get to the end of the show, because I was doing a lot of other stuff, and I kind of lost. I sort of lost whether or not they had it. By the time Kevin Durant was on there, I was so confused. I was like, what the hell is going on here? It was bold storytelling, and it was appointment TV, and it was amazing. I mean, I'd done a lot of things, but I'd never done anything that had that kind of awareness. And it's a double-edged sword too, because if there were people on that show who maybe got a DUI or got into some kind of beef in town in Honolulu, and the paparazzi or something, and it went around the world overnight. And that's a hell of a thing to carry with you if you're trying to have a good time while you're working. I can tell you. Now, and so I have to tell you about another thing. The smuggler that has the plane and has the Virgin Mary statues with the heroin in it, right?
Right.
You know what I'm talking about. Of course you know. Yep. I mean, I can feel like I can mention the most obscure things, and you know exactly what I'm saying. Well, that was when I was there. See, I went back and forth. The people who were there all the time, the cast regulars, all had their own homes, and we would get together and watch the show at different people's houses on Wednesday night or whenever the hell it was. And one thing they all had as a souvenir was one of those statues. And I thought, man, I'm a natural-born collector of stuff. I got stuff from everything I ever did. And I said, I got to get it. And the prop guy said, oh, maybe next year. So about the fourth season, we got a new prop guy, and they hadn't done that gag for a while. And I said, can I have it? He said, yeah. So he gave me two. He gave me a plaster one and a plastic one. And I said, man, this is great. And I kept them in my hotel room. And when that episode was over, I was going to fly back to L.A. And I said, I'm not going to put this in my check baggage because it might get lost. So I'm going to put it in my carry-on. And as I'm putting it in my briefcase, one of my guardian angels says to me, wait a minute, you might want to shake this thing one time before you do that. So I did. I picked it up and I shook them. And my God, there's something inside. So I got my fingernail clippers out and I carved a hole and pulled out a bag of prop heroin out of each one of them. And our prop guy didn't know. He had never worked that gag. He was new that season. And he just forgot or something. Oh my God! I called my wife and I said, "Honey, I was just about to go to the Honolulu airport and run these things through the thing, and I would have been in every newspaper in the world. Lost actor arrested at the Honolulu airport for smuggling heroin.
That would have been
an ounce of Hawaiian pot, which I would have had down the front of my pants. And then 2 days later, the story would be, this idiot was smuggling prop heroin. It would have been even bigger. I never would have lived that down. Never. I would have heard that. It would have been bigger than my dick in Sideways. It was something I would never hear the end of. You know, I mean, for years, every room I went into for a meeting, people wanted to talk about Sideways. And long after they forgot about Lost, they still want to talk about Sideways. But this would have. But my guardian angel told me, shake that thing one time. Oh my God! So that fame, that world fame and everything, that notoriety is more for anything. It would have cut me to the quick. But it didn't happen. I threw it away. My wife said, "You should have brought it home. It's a great prop." Yeah, I'll put it in my sock. How's that? Yeah. No, but I still have that. I still have a Virgin Mary sitting over here on my desk right now, looking at me while we're talking. And that's what the trying to have a good time. It can get you in trouble sometimes.
That would have been like the ultimate life imitating art moment had you gotten caught with prop heroin in a prop Virgin Mary statue, as it happened on the
airplane.
Show. Yeah,
right.
Right, and then as they were shaking me down and putting the cuffs on me, they would have found this incredible bag of fucking Pakalolo that one of the Hawaiian crew members had given me. So I would have been in trouble. I would have been in legitimate trouble. But just the embarrassment, I would never have heard the end of that. Never.
I think that's my favorite story so far from any behind the scenes of Lost. Is that?
yeah.
Is that
whatever it was
possibly happening?
The ghost of Tom Friendly told me to shake that Virgin Mary, baby. That's going to be the title in my memoir. That'll be the title of that chapter. Shake the Virgin Mary, dude.
Shake the Virgin Mary. So going back to, we talked a little bit obviously about when Tom Friendly was, gave himself up and was killed off at the end of season 3, even though it wasn't the end that we saw you. By this point, you had become pretty prevalent in the show. You had done a number of episodes. You were a known character. Was it kind of disappointing to get that script knowing that they were killing off the character? Or did you kind of see it coming at that point?
Yeah, let me see exactly how to answer it. Of course it was disappointing to know that I was not going to go and continue to have adventures and be with this group of people as they went through the entirety of their experience. And some of these people, like John Locke, I mean, some I'd worked with before, and some I felt like I had watched them grow up, like Tanya Ramone, and to know that I wasn't going to do it is definitely going to be a disappointment. But I have to be honest with you, I've been doing it so long that I had a friend who was fired from a movie one time, Katharine Hepburn movie, and she called and she actually had him fired, not because he did anything wrong. She just wanted somebody else. And she called and said, there are two kinds of actors, those who've been fired and those who will be. Well, there are two kinds of character actors, which is what I am. Those who've been killed on a show and those who will be. Mm-hmm. So it didn't come as any surprise at all. I'm not that guy. I'm already moving on. I got 4 other jobs. I'm already moving on to something else. And I'm just so grateful for the fun I had that I wasn't that disappointed that long. It was a great time. I wasn't looking for a home when I got there, and I had a great time while I was there. And I was really happy to go back and forth because people react differently. But if you're on Hawaii for 6 months, you will go crazy wanting to drive 60 miles in a straight line. You will absolutely go out of your mind because everything is around and around and around the island, baby. You cannot go 10 miles in a straight line on any of those islands. And you'll just want to come home. You'll want to come home, get in your car, and drive 60 miles up the 101. Just let me just drive in a straight line. I know that's a weird thing to say, but it symbolizes what will happen if you stay in Hawaii too long. I mean, so it was great to be there. I'm sorry that I wasn't going to be there anymore, but I was ready to move on. And I went and did the Wild Hogs after that season. I think and rode a motorcycle 1,000 miles. It's like. Yeah. So the answer was, I'm going to say yes and no. I was disappointed, but it didn't surprise me, and it didn't hurt.
Yeah. I guess it was pleasing then, because by that point, into season 4, we see you 2 more times. Did you know at that point you were coming back, or was it just like a pleasing call to get from the producer saying, hey, we need you to come back?
I did not know it. They treated me so well. The producers and directors and the writers, they treated me so well on that job that, you feel, you have that feeling like, yes, they're not done with me, or yes, they want more of me, or yes, whatever. It's very different than some other jobs I've had. Like I did an episode of The Magicians, and I sucked. And I didn't think I did a good job. I didn't like the material. I didn't have a good time. And I was supposed to do an arc on it of several episodes. And the next script I got, I blew my brains out with a shotgun. Okay, yeah. I said, thank you, was my reaction on that one. It was like, yeah, no, I thank you, because what I had to say on that show, the things I had to talk about were things I didn't even know what they were. If you get a script and you have to start Googling things to see what the fuck you're talking about, it's not as much fun, It's like, yeah. So, no, I've been killed on so many shows. It's a funny thing. Just as a body, I was at a party last year. I work a TV series called Tangled for Disney, and we had a big party at the end of the season. And some young person was there, and they go, "Oh man, I've seen you so long. How many people have you ever killed? What's your favorite person you ever killed?" And I started thinking about it in that moment. And it took me 3 days, and I had to go to the IMDb. I never have killed anybody on camera in 188 different credits.
Wow.
Never on camera. I played killers who have killed people, and I killed people off stage, but I never killed anybody on camera that I could find. And if you ever find one, I wish you'd let me know. I never could find one example of me. I shot people, but they didn't die. Yeah. But me actually killing somebody, I couldn't find one. But I did find me getting killed about 75 times. So yeah, when I get killed, it's like I had it coming. I mean, Tom Friendly had it coming, for reasons I'll never understand, for reasons I didn't understand then. I really could not get too deeply into the plot of this show. I was so busy just trying to be Tom Friendly that the plot, usually it's like. Usually, if it's a movie and I have time to prepare for it, it's like doing a play. I will know everybody's part. I'll know everything. I'll know where I am in the first act, second act, third. I'll know everything about the dynamic of it. That's part of the fun of it. But Lost was a different thing, and it was part of what made it wonderful. I'm not saying I was making up any dialogue, because I don't think I made up any dialogue, but I felt like I was, because whatever I was talking about when I said it, like when I said, "You're not my type," I knew what I was talking about.
Well, that had to also be kind of freeing too. Like you kind of had like a blank check to create this character.
I had a blank check to try, because I'm not saying is a lot of times they said no. There were things about it that drove me crazy. Okay, it's like I had to be barefooted in every shot. So all the time I had the beard. All the time when I was pretending, still dressed in the ragged clothes with the beard, for whatever reason, and don't tell me why. But I was barefooted. And when you're running around barefooted in Hawaii, you're running on lava. It fucking hurt. I mean, my feet have never been the same since then from all the barefoot. And when you see it, my feet are never in the shot. What? I could have acted the part of being barefooted. I didn't have to be barefooted. So there were some little mundane things about it. You go, well, fuck, man. Would it kill you if I was wearing my yellow Crocs? I mean, good God Almighty, why do I have to be barefooted when my feet are on your frame? But it's just this is just part of the shit that goes with it, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah. So once
I know. I'm not a very good subject here because all you do is ask me what time it is, and I tell you how to build a clock.
Are you kidding me? This is fascinating. I love this.
Well, I can't give you many answers about what things meant in the show, but I can tell you about my experience in the show. And and the one thing I want to make sure I tell you before we run out of time is I was not prepared for the worldwide acclaim and love I was going to receive from the audience.
Really?
Before Lost, I had never done an autograph show. I mean, it's close. I had some friends come out one time and they were visiting California, and I took them to Pasadena, and we were walking through the streets, and this young person came up to me and said, "Hey, can I get your autograph, please?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, sure, kid." And I'm signing this autograph, and my friends are all watching. They're very impressed. And I said, "So what do you know me from?" And he said, "What?" I said, "Well, you asked my autograph. What do you know me from?" He said, "No, I'm part of a group at school, and we're doing a treasure hunt, and I had to get an autograph from somebody who weighs more than 200 pounds."
Whoa!
And so he took the autograph and walked away. And my friends were looking at me. They were like, "One of your fans?" Huh? I said, "Fuck you, shut up." So I was not in the autograph business, but Lost put me into it. A guy called and said, "Hey, I'm an autograph agent. There are people out there in the world that want to meet you and get your autograph, and they're willing to pay you to do it." And I said, "I have no idea what you're talking about." And he said, "Okay, how would you like to go to London for a week and do an autograph show?" And I said, "Well, let me think about it a minute." I said, "Okay, like who's going to be there?" He said, "Well, there'll be other people from Lost." I'm in. I said, so they would fly. I flew to London. I flew several places around the world, and I was blown away. As you can well imagine, I'm glad to meet people. There's some people who do that for money, like I won't mention any names, William Shatner, who will not make eye contact with people. He gets like $500 in autograph. He signs one after and won't make eye contact, won't talk to anybody. And you know what I mean? It's like they might as well be wearing a fucking mask. Yeah, he's like, this is what. But I'm not that guy. If you're waiting in line to meet me, I'm going to bring pictures for you, not just the ones the agent brought. I'm going to give you my picture. I'm going to take pictures. I'm going to tell you stories. Because that's who the fuck I am. That's who I am. And so I had a great time doing these autograph shows, and it was a fucking blast. And I was really moved to my soul. It'd be like a guy who's a plumber, and he lives 60 kilometers outside of London, and he and his wife got up in the morning and drove all the way into London traffic and got down to the place and got a parking place and came and paid $40 to get in, and then $40 to somebody for me to sign an autograph and all this, just because they love that show and they love Tom Friendly. And I'm not used to getting a lot of love for the characters I played, so it was very heady stuff indeed, and I wouldn't take anything for that. The people around the world, it changed my whole attitude about how people see TV. And now when I get a thing that's like an 8-cent residual for TV show, say The Mentalist showing in Spain, and then 12 cents for showing in Germany, and they put them all on one thing, and people all over the world are watching this. Mm-hmm. But I did not have an appreciation for how much they pay attention to certain shows, and Lost was one of those shows because the cast was international. Yeah, I mean, interracial, international, everything. I mean, you could show that anywhere, and the story would hold up, and the actors would hold up, I believe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, talking about the acclaim that you get for the show, May 23rd was actually the 10th anniversary of the series finale of Lost. So, I mean, we're 10 years past of this show ending, and this show is...
And people are still watching it.
And people are still... exactly. Still watching it and still talking about it. So, that just awesome. Goes to show how huge the show was at the time and still is to this day.
Yeah, that is really strange. There were a lot of interesting little things that happened. Well, one of them was I was back in town early on. I'm going to say in the second season, and I got a call. My manager called me and said, "Can you be at the Jimmy Kimmel show at 5:00? J.J. Abrams is on tonight, and he wants you to be there." And I'm like, fuck. J.J. Abrams asked me to go outer space. I'm going, baby. But I was in Venice Beach. I had an audition for something else. And so I drove like a madman all the way up, got up to Hollywood Boulevard, got there, got in, and they tried to make me up to look like Tom with the beard and everything. And I'm thinking, this is going to be great. I'm going to be on the Jimmy Kimmel Show. And then they took me in and put me in the audience. I was sitting in a seat in the audience. And when JJ is in there being interviewed, once in a while they cut to me in the audience listening. And the audience would howl with laughter. I mean, it was a great visual bit. Why the hell is that guy, the light 'em up guy in that costume, sitting in the audience? And JJ came over and thanked me for doing it. He said, "What the music, the singer's going to be singing after, and they have a stage outside in the parking lot, and we have a polar bear that's going to be there. Would you be there to interact with the polar bear?" So I'm like, "Oh, hell yeah. I'm on Hollywood Boulevard with a fucking guy in a polar bear outfit with some band. I don't even remember who the band was. Somebody I hadn't heard of playing rock and roll. And I'm thinking, what other job is going to give you this kind of shit? These are fringe benefits."
I was going to say, I mean, at one point in that night, you're thinking to yourself, and this is my life.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking, and it's really good.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's woven in, and my wife, my beautiful wife, was right when she said this show is going to be a hit. Stop saying Gilligan's Island. Stop talking about it like that. And she was right, and that she could weave herself into the hat and the towels and all of that. We could go through that together. Was a beautiful thing, and it's really amazing how many people saw that. It really changed how many people knew who I was, and it changed how people, what they had to talk about. Instead of saying, "Oh yeah, I saw you. You was mean son of a bitch on that." I mean, I've had people say the weirdest things to me about different parts that I did. I played a Yankee soldier in something in 1981, and when I went back down to Tylertown, Mississippi, Highway 98, just west of Hattiesburg. I went down. This guy in this bar said, "Hey, somebody told me you're an actor and you played a Yankee soldier in a show." I said, "Oh no, man, I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea." Somebody was
I gotta
go. That. I knew. Yeah, look at the time. It's the 20th century. I gotta go. Yeah. So Tom Friendly. They have a thing when you go in jail. They call it a jacket. The jacket you wear, and it really is about why you're in there. If you're a child molester, you got a really bad jacket. If you're in the RICO that means you're probably connected. You got a good jacket. Bank is a hierarchy. Bank robbers are here. Armed robbers are here. Car thieves are here. It's like, and to go in to my jacket as Tom Friendly was a really comfortable and wonderful jacket to carry in meeting the public, because some of the characters I played, when people come up and say, "I loved you in that character," I just want to back away from them. And that's before they were wearing masks. I'm just saying, if you come and tell me that you loved Big John Brittle from Django Unchained, yeah, you loved him. I got to go. Look at the time. Yeah, you know what I mean?
I got to go.
I love that
Tom
character
Friendly.
you played in Breakaway when you were chasing Kurt Russell that whole time. Or Breakdown, not Breakaway, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Of course you do, Ben. He was a fucking maniac, absolutely. I starved myself down to 225 pounds and wore a long-sleeve black shirt in the fucking desert all summer. Yeah, that guy had a real sweet disposition. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, so let's get to the real gossip here. Let's talk about who did you like and who did you not like working with. I'm just kidding. We don't have to go there.
Wow.
No, we don't have to go there.
That would be a challenge. That would be a challenge. How far back do I go? William Shatner.
I meant just on Lost, but we don't.
Just meant with Lost.
Yeah,
no,
we don't.
No. I know what you meant. I know what you meant. Yeah. Yeah, my only disappointment, the only disappointment I had about that was I did not get to be in an episode with Paula Malcolmson. I did not get to be in an episode with Kevin Durant. I did not get to be in an episode with Titus Welliver, friends of mine that I've worked with on other stuff that I would love to have been in an episode. I would love to have been Tom Friendly to them.
Yeah, I was just thinking that earlier today too, because right before we were talking earlier this morning, I rewatched Meet Kevin Johnson, which is your final episode of the series, and it hit me as I was watching it because I didn't think about it until well after we had spoken the last time, that is Kevin Durand is in that episode, but the two of you are never on screen together at any point, which I was kind of disappointed in.
Yeah, and nor did we work it's like a 9-day schedule to do an episode. I was in the first 3 or 4 days, and he was in the last 3 or 4 days. So we did not even get to see each other and say, hey. Yeah, I did get to see Paula when I was at it, but I didn't get a chance to work with her. But one of the things that was so great about that show was the quality of the people they discovered, Evangeline Lilly, the quality of the people they resuscitated, the quality of the people they brought in to be guest stars. It was the producers and were really on top of it, man. They're great guys. Damon Lindelof, great guy, and I wish that it was possible to go back and do it all again, but you know what? It ain't. And it is what it is. That's one of the reasons I try to have as much fun as I can in every situation, because you're not going to get it again. And I've got to tell you, I have a lot of fun talking with you guys. I mean, your love for the show is a breath of fresh air for me today. I really am grateful to be able to have a chance. And there's nobody I didn't want to work with. There was, but I'm not going to say who it was, because now that I remember, there was one person I really hated. And I'll tell you sometime when it's just us sitting in a room and I can deny that I said it. But but as far as I was concerned, it was one of the greatest casts ever. The only reason I hated this guy is because he had a bad habit of hurting the stunt guys. Okay. He was sensitive about how. And Michael Bowen, my friend Michael Bowen, I can't believe I forgot. Michael Bowen, who was in a bunch of episodes, is a pal of mine for many, many years. We go way back. And we had a lot of downtime sometimes. Some episodes we'd work a couple of days and we'd have 3 or 4 days off. And I had this wonderful guy. There's a character, you would know his face, but I don't think he ever got a name. Do you know, you've heard the expression, the socks, right? For Lost?
No, not
Okay,
familiar.
I'll tell you what that means.
Okay.
The socks were the characters you saw in the background regularly, but they didn't have a story and they didn't have a name. They called them socks.
Oh, that's
and
interesting.
One of the and they would be described in the scripts as socks. And one of the socks was a Hungarian guy named Attila Vahas. He's very thin, very dark complected. He was quite often standing next to me with a rifle in his hand. And he is an amazing guy. He's born in Hungary, but he was taken away from his parents by the Soviet Union and taken to be an Olympic athlete. And they literally took him away and kept him and trained him to be an Olympic ocean rowing champion. And he defected and stayed in America. And he got a job as an extra and a stand-in and just one of the socks on Lost. And he's probably in 50 different episodes. Wow. But he's one of my best friends in the world. We continue to be great friends. I'm still in touch with him now. He's gone back to Hungary now. But he was everything Lost was about. That character, stolen by the Russians, defected, and wound up in Hawaii, hiding in Hawaii. And he wound up as one of the socks. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he would drive us around because he lived in Hawaii, and so he had a car and he knew all the places. So he would take me and Michael Bowen and my beautiful wife, and we'd go to beaches that we weren't supposed to be able to get into, and we go to all these different places, and we had a freaking ball. You know, we did Hawaii up one side and down the other, and the crew on that show. The Hawaiian crew were incredible. I mean, they had a lot of people who weren't Hawaiian too that came over, the makeup people, and did amazing jobs. But the local people, some of them have been working since the original Hawaii 5-0, and some of them even longer than that. You know, it was everything about it was peaches and cream, man.
Yeah, it sounds like it was like summer camp.
Yeah, it really was. And then I mean cashew cream too.
You busted your ass. They worked so fucking hard on that show.
Yeah, we did work hard on it. We were in a lot of places, but you know what? It was a labor of love, man, and nobody ever tried to stop us from having a good time. And that ain't always the case, baby.
Yeah,
that ain't always the case.
And that's such a cool connection too, to hear that some of the original crew from from Hawaii Five-0 was part of your crew on Lost in Hawaii, especially considering that some of the cast of Lost moved over to the rebooted.
Oh yeah,
Hawaii
Daniel did another series. I mean, some of them moved into the next series in Hawaii, and who can blame them?
Yeah, Daniel Day Kim, Jorge Garcia, Terry O'Quinn, they all had guest appearances. Well, Daniel Day Kim was more of a cast member, a regular cast member, but Jorge Garcia became a cast member.
Jorge's done a lot of them. By the way, Jorge, world-class vegan, long time.
Really? That's pretty cool to hear, though, too.
Yeah, long-time vegan. They and who can blame them? You know, if they made me a regular, I might have stayed there. You know, it's just a really wonderful place to be, and once it gets into your blood, once you get over that need to drive in a 60-mile straight line, once you get over that, then you're just living in paradise. You know, Honolulu can be a problem because there's so many tourists. It's kind of like living next door to the French Quarter in New Orleans. It's like, I mean, part of just tourists around the season, around the year, all year long. Just always tourists. But what are you going to do? You know, it's America. You know, everybody wants to be here.
I just thought of one more thing, too, that I wanted to bring up before we get ready to wrap things up, too, is that one other thing Lost did for you that I think this is the first and only time, and correct me if I'm wrong, the first and only time you've become a character in a video game.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely the only time. Absolutely.
Yeah, because you got to voice Tom Friendly again for the Lost video game.
I did indeed, and had no idea what the game was about or how it was being played. But no, it dovetailed very nicely into the series. I don't really know what's going on, and so I sort of built that in that maybe Tom did not know a whole lot. Maybe Tom decided not knowing a whole lot about what was going on would mean you could stick around longer. Maybe you didn't have the enemies that might want to kill you. You know, I don't know. I know that Tom Friendly was a happy guy. And I was happy right up until the point that left-handed Sawyer killed me.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you took the boy off the raft.
I took the boy off the raft. That's exactly right. And did not eat him. And while his dog stuck around for a long time, he grew up so fast that he grew out of the part. I mean, I hadn't really thought about that in a long time, but he did. He grew up, and then it was hard to figure out how you could get him back in there, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was no way to do a time jump.
Yeah.
Well, at that point.
Well, I'm so glad you have people interested in watching this, and it's a pleasure talking to you. If you can think about anything else you want to talk about, you know how to reach me.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
MC, I didn't get
You're
the chance.
You're welcome, Kristin.
I didn't get the chance to do this when we spoke on the Spotlight, but what do you got going on that you want to promote, if anything you've got going on you want people to know about?
What do I have anything I want to promote? Huh? Oh, Bit. Yeah, Bit. It's a low-budget movie. You know, I don't know where they're playing any movies right now. I don't think they are, but they're all someplace. It's called Bit, B-I-T, Bit. And it's sort of like a remake of The Lost Boys, if you know that.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Vampire movie?
Yeah.
Only it's not boys, it's girls. It's young women, and they're incredibly beautiful. And they are vampires. And they have updated it a little bit in some cool ways. Like when I was a kid, if you were a vampire, you had to sleep in a box all day. Well, that's old shit. Now they just put sunblock on and they're out looking for blood, man. And it's a great thing. And the star of it is a beautiful young lady. Nicole Maines.
Oh, Nicole Maines. She's in Supergirl. Yeah. She's a transgender actress.
She is.
Yeah.
She is the star of this movie. She plays a girl from the country who comes to the city, and of course the vampires want to bite her right away. And she's really amazing. And she's just an amazingly beautiful woman. And she bites me in this movie and kills me. And when she bit me, she took a chance and did something that was not in the script that was fucking brilliant. Before she came in and bit me, she filled her mouth with stage blood so that when she came up behind me and bit me on the neck, I was suddenly covered in blood. And warm blood ran down all over my bosoms. And it was sexy, and it was fucking great, man. I'm telling you, man, it's a cool movie. If you can find Bit, check it out, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look for that. That's awesome. So
it was supposed to be in the theaters right now, but hey,
You just died again, and you're not supposed to be spoiler alert. Why promoting?
oh, yeah, that's right. I'm not supposed to tell you that I died in it, but come on, my character's a vampire hunter, and I thought he was so fucking mean. He's gonna. I did a Civil War, pre-Civil War slave movie again about a year ago, and they showed it to, and I played a guy who was a terrible guy, and they showed it to an audience, and 90% of the test audience wanted to see the character dead.
Wow.
And so they flew me back to Atlanta in the reshoots, put me in a bed, put a knife in my neck, and did one shot of me dead. So for me, that's like a People's Choice Award,
Yeah.
9 out of 10 people want to see you assuming room temperature. That says all you need. Did you do your job? Yeah, you did. But I don't know. I got a vampire movie and a runaway slave movie, and God bless. You'll see something. I'll let you know if I find something else. Okay?
that sounds good.
Sounds good.
Well, MC,
well, you guys have fun.
yes,
I'm so happy to know you. You are in the future. What you're doing is the whole podcast. That whole thing is the future. It's not the past. And enjoy every minute of it, man, because 5 years from now, they'll think of something else, and you'll have to learn to do that.
Yes, sir.
How true that is. Well,
I only wish I could point a camera at you guys and put you on TV so everybody could get a little taste of your love for what you're doing, because you're blessed, and I hope you guys are enjoying it as much as you seem to be, and hold on to that as long as you can. That's my advice to you.
We're going to try.
Thank you so much.
And we appreciate it.
All right, so as the sun sets slowly in the west, I pick up my margarita and toast you all and say, bon voyage. Aloha. Mon
Aloha.
Aloha.
Bye.
Mahalo. Bye.
Bye, you golden eagle. Bye.
We have to go back, Kate. We have to go back!